welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your co-hosts, Ryan Doze, joined by a Warriors 3-esque grouping for this version of our journey into Jurgens, our exploration of Dan Jurgens' run of Thor that began pre-millennium. We're pre Y2K, Eric. There is the end is coming, and when those clocks go, all the ones and zeros, we're not going to know what to do with it. How is it going to affect Thor comics? But we're what, in our fourth part? We're in our fourth part of the journey into Jurgens. So, Eric, how are we doing so far on this journey into Jurgens? Then we'll get Faz's thoughts about how he thinks the journey has gone so far.
Spoilers as to who else is here. God.
Spoilers. Who's that?
If you don't know about the Millennium yet, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we better read these comics fast, because if we don't read them quick, our clocks are going to change and all the ones and zeros are going to be reset. I don't know. Was that what Y2K was? I was there. I should remember.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was explosions, right? Wasn't everything going to break?
Yes. Yeah. And the comic books were going to reset.
How old were we all when the Millennium happened?
Oh, gosh.
I was 1,475 years old, because now I'm 1,500 years old, and I fought twice as many, and each and every one of them would rather kill me, but none of them succeeded.
I swear to God, I never see it coming. And then when you do it, I'm just like, why didn't I see that coming? I was 9, and just living my life. I didn't know what a Y2K was.
Aaron, how old were you?
I think I was 16.
So old enough to be vaguely concerned?
Yeah, I remember there was some commotion around it. Yeah, but I wasn't worried about it.
I want to party hard, man. Faz, how do you feel? Or how do you feel like this journey into Jurgens has gone so far, Eric? I don't know if we actually got to your answer.
I didn't ever answer the question.
I just made a bunch of Y2K jokes.
This is hard-hitting journalism at its bleakest.
I think it's been great, because we just wrapped up the entire first arc, right? And so This is the start of the next thing. We came out with a bang, with a really solid story that was, I think, collected in 2 trades. So maybe this is the third journey into Jurgens, but
I'm gonna double check that right now.
We've handled the Dark Gods. We believe. Maybe we handled them. They're not. They'll never come back. We'll never see them again. And now we're on to something different. So we're gonna dive into this with a new beginning of a new arc. And so far, I mean, this has really re-solidified my, dare I say, love of the Jurgens run. And I think I'm winning over hearts and minds when it comes to Thor fans that originally didn't think the Jurgens stuff was as good as other modern takes. And so I think it definitely holds up, and I'm still really enjoying the look back and diving through these.
Just to confirm, we are in the third. This is the third part of our Dan Jurgens journey. We did issues 1 through 8 in the first segment. And we did 9 through 13 in the second, and we did Thor Annual 1999, which did get referenced in the issues that we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. So, Faz, how do you feel the journey into Jurgens has gone so far? Because this is old hat for you. You've done this twice now.
Not only are we just finished the first arc of Jurgens, but longtime listeners of the podcast will know that Hercules and I, through our deific duo's Journey into Mystery: Road to 800, have finished the things that came before Jurgens around this time as well. So we can really see the pieces that connect through from the through line of those first 400 or so that were in the way. And you can really see how much better this is than the terrible stuff that we got immediately before it. It's the first time that I read Jurgens, it was done in a weekend, and I was left disappointed, being that I read it right after Simonson, and they were very, very different. But I continue to think the more doing it this way after reading what came immediately before it in the couple decades post Simonson and before Jurgens, it's the best that we've had in a very long time, and it's really consistent with his characterization that he had throughout the way. So I'm having a great time, and the art is fantastic. Like
Yeah.
I know Ryan, you're not a huge JR guy compared to some of the others, but like he's freaking great, and these next artists are, dare I say, even better as we go.
I mean, and in these issues we're going to talk about on this episode, we get Mike McCone, we get Lee Weeks, we had John Romita, no, we had John Buscema in the last in the last edition. It's what I told Eric last time was that there are moments where I'm like, okay, I get the John Romita Jr. like fanboys, I get it.
Yeah.
And it's usually when he goes big. He's very good at going big with big fight scenes. And the last, I mean, when we were talking
he's
about
great at armor, right? Like Mangog and his squareness, he's perfect. Odin is drawn fantastically by him. There's certain things that it's just like he was born to draw that character.
His version of Pericus is amazing.
Yeah.
Like so imposing. And
I heard you're going to cosplay that next year, right? Is that true?
Totally, sure. Yeah, why not? I'll make another empty promise to you.
Ryan, how do you think the creator spotlight on Dan Jurgens is going so far, and the books that we've covered?
So, actually, thank you for asking this. I wasn't going to ask myself the question. This is the first creator spotlight where I had no knowledge of the source material going into it. Like, Jason Aaron I had read before. Walt Simonson I had read pieces of before.
You haven't read Jurgens?
No, we talked about this. No, I haven't. I'm experiencing as we're going.
So the only Magni you know is from the Immortal Thor?
Well, and like I read like his wiki article.
Wow.
So I know like things about him. Yeah,
never forget your first.
I thought this was established way long ago.
I mean, it probably was, but I've read Jurgens so many times now that I just assume you all have as well.
I assume everyone's read Jurgens a few times now. No, but I kind of like being the one that's experiencing it for the first time and you guys revisiting it, because if I ever need to be baby stepped through something, you guys know it well enough, and I can be the one. I can be the one that's the listener's point of view, where I'm experiencing it for the first time. No, I've liked it so far. Eric knows this because we talked ad nauseum about it on the last edition of this series. I really enjoyed where Dan Jurgens took the Pericus story towards the end. Because I thought the fights between Thor and Pericus were top notch. I thought they were incredible. The trash talk was incredible. How they incorporated Jake into that conflict was awesome. And I'm really, I don't know if I'm as hyped about what we're going to talk about tonight overall, but I'm hyped about certain moments a lot. So I'm excited to dig into this one as well.
This is like the Minotaur arc of Jason Aaron, right? It's like the breather. We've done the big epic thing, and now we have a more normal thing for 5 issues, and then we're going to go crazy again. So this is a really nice breather part of the story, and then Ryguy, you better believe we're picking it back up and going crazy after this.
We're reloading right now. Do you guys want to jump into the first issue? Have we preambled sufficiently? Okie dokie, everybody. Our first issue tonight is going to be Thor Volume 2 by Dan Jurgens. And the first issue is number 14. It is entitled Hammer Time. Cue sound effects that we can't afford. Mike McCone is the penciler as well as the inker. Colorist Gregory Wright. Letterer Wes Abbott and editor Tom Brevoort. A lot of names that we haven't seen show up yet, so this is probably the JR break issue, and we're reloading for that next story. On the cover, we see a triple threat fight between Thor and Iron Man facing off against the Absorbing Man. Now, guys, anything we want to say about this cover real quick? I have one thought, but I will cede the first opinion to you.
It's brought down a peg because of the presence of Iron Man. Because who cares about Iron Man? Is that what you were gonna say?
No, Eric, we don't have to patronize him.
No.
If anything, we should be all in on the Iron Man love. This is one of the best covers I've ever seen because Ryan's favorite Avenger, Iron Man, is on it.
My favorite Avenger, Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man.
I literally almost went there just to double fake it up, but I decided against it.
Okay, so Eric, my one comment on this cover is, what the heck is up with Crusher's face?
Yeah, I mean he is straining himself, so it's not.
He is taking an angry shit.
Yeah,
that looks like the King's drawings of him, though. Are you having a beef with Kirby right now? Because do I have to come through this Zoom room and beat you up somehow?
I don't know. I do not like what they did with his face. He looks frightening.
Jack Kirby's already sending the lawsuit.
I like the Thor and the Iron Man on this cover. I like the digitized Iron Man logo. I think it's super 90s. I don't care. I like that part of it, but man, I can't get over the Absorbing Man's face. It's haunting. It's terrifying stuff. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a 30,000 foot view of this issue, and Faz will clean up my mess after we.
Hercules will clean up your mess. Faz is here for color commentary only.
Okay, Eric, I guess we're passing the buck around. Okay, we start the issue with what is happening right now, and that is Iron Man is walking into the hospital with Jake Olson passed out in his arms. We learn from Iron Man that he found Jake like this, and he's going to tell us how we got to this moment. Jane Foster is the one that identifies Jake, and then Iron Man starts to tell a story. He and Thor were picking up pieces of the Rainbow Bridge because, listener, you'll never guess what happened. The Rainbow Bridge got destroyed.
What?
I know. It's very tragic. It's very tragic. It never happens.
Hate when that happens.
And so Iron Man and Thor are going around the city. They even get some help from Namor finding these pieces of the Rainbow Bridge. They return some of them to the Golden City of Asgard. They pal around a little bit with the rebuilding crew of those that are working on Asgard. And then we get this great group like family reunion shot of, all kind of like your main characters you think of when you think of Asgard. We get some dark elves in there. We get some trolls. Ulick is in this, which I really like. We get Volstagg, Fandral. The whole gang is here.
Curse is there too, right?
I believe, yeah. I think Curse is in the far right a little.
Yeah, he looks like he's there.
Yeah, I see.
Someone approximating Curse anyway.
Yeah, someone with the visage similar to Curse is there, but Iron Man and Thor are called away back to Midgard because the Absorbing Man and Titania are tearing up the city. They launch into this fight with them. We get some really cool action stuff. I think Mike McKone's art really shines in these action spots. His interior version of Crusher is far superior. I really enjoyed his approach to Crusher. Titania kind of gets the shaft because she's just one-on-one with Iron Man, and they keep this battle raging. It's kind of a big action issue, and they're able to subdue them. But in all of this mess, Thor gets kind of woozy, and he's calling out to Iron Man. He goes back into this alley, transforms into Jake, and the hammer is stuck in this wall, kind of like the sword in the stone. We're going to make references to that in the next issue for sure.
Wait, Mjolnir is an allegory for the sword in the stone? What?
I know. This is a surprise to all of us.
Everything about this issue is the Bifrost is exploding. Mjolnir is the sword in the stone. Everything is new.
These are all such original and inspiring ideas. Jake reaches out to grab the hammer to pull it out of the wall, and this green glowing like plasma looking energy comes out, and we see a new figure that we're not really familiar with anymore. Another guy just popping out of nowhere with a crazy mask. Not like we've met any of those guys in the recent Journey into Jurgens issues. But how do we want to pronounce this, guys? Enracht? Enracht?
Yeah,
Enracht?
Sure. Enracht
He proclaims himself Enracht, mourner of Forsong, brother to Brona and Magnir, the Enchanters. He's the fourth Enchanter, and we will get the backstory to the Enchanters in, I believe, the next issue. So Jake meets him, and we get kind of this introduction of why Enracht is here. He was hiding inside of Mjolnir. Jake is incapacitated due to this interaction. Iron Man picks him up, takes him to the hospital.
He's also the reason why Mjolnir's been weird for this entire run. He's been doing weird shit the whole time.
And we will get more of an explanation. Thank you, Faz. We will get more of an explanation of how Enracht being inside the hammer has affected the hammer itself. But we end the issue with Thor and Jake having this internal argument, and then Iron Man is seen taking Jake to the hospital, all for the police to show up and be like, hey, you know that weird bit of story we did at the end of the last arc? We're here to pay it off because Jake Olson's under arrest.
Yeah.
Eric, I clean up my mess. What did I miss? What there needs further expounding on?
I think you did a good job. That's the gist of it. It was really confusing for me at first because it starts off with, chronologically, it's out of order. And so that's an important thing to note, that like Jake Olson had an apparent heart attack, and we realize how that happened because Enracht reached through his chest and touched his heart and messed with it. So yeah, Jake Olson is rushed to get emergency care in the hospital. That's where, the whole drug pusher plot is picking back up, because it's just, nothing can be easy for Jake Olson and Thor living the life of Jake Olson, because, listener, remember that Thor is pretending to be Jake Olson,
right,
to honor the spirit of the dead Jake Olson. And there's a little bit of Jake Olson's soul in there, and we're catching some of that with the interaction that's happening in unconscious Jake Olson's head, where it's really the Thor persona and Jake persona trying to sort of interact and talk to each other. Is
the Jake persona part of Jake's soul, or is that the human part of Thor's soul?
Good question.
I guess maybe it'll be detailed eventually.
There's a little bit of something, because we know that when Jake Olson, died. So this is not like Jake Olson the person, but there's a little bit of him that is in there, because we know that Thor retains Jake's memories and vice versa.
Right.
And Jake knows all of Thor's memories, even when he's in Jake's form. So there's some mixing happening, but I don't think it's exactly spelled out, if this is a construct or if this is a piece of a soul or what.
That makes sense.
So, Eric, is there a specific spot in this issue that really jumped out at you? Something that you really enjoyed about this issue?
Yeah. So I love Crusher Creel. I think he's one of the most interesting Thor villains, and probably one of the strongest of all time. And actually, he's been getting nerfed a little bit over time, because in his first appearance, he could actually absorb Thor's worthiness and Thor's might, in addition to just absorbing the properties of physical elements that he's touching. And over time, it's evolved a little bit more into, he just picks up the physical characteristics of things he's in contact with.
Right.
Which is still pretty cool, because you can't hit him with Mjolnir. He'll turn into Uru immediately if you strike him with it. So it's like he has this ego about him, because he's really untouchable in a lot of ways. And over the years, he's had some really interesting ways that he gets taken out. But in this case, there's a massive misunderstanding. Crusher was in a jewelry store going to buy an anniversary present for Titania, and the shop owner freaked out and escalated this and got the cops involved. So Crusher's innocent here. He's the one being harassed, and he makes an interesting comment. He goes, you're the worst of all, talking to Thor Odinson, because Crusher and the previous Thor, Eric Masterson, were actually kind of cool. Like they
were
to
boys.
They got to an understanding of like, okay, you're not gonna just hit like strike first and ask questions later. Eric Masterson was trying to assume, well, surely there's an explanation to this and kind of get to the misunderstanding. But Thor Odinson is more of a, you're the villain, and it's very oversimplified. Like, I smashed the villain, you're the villain, so therefore, like, I'm taking you out. And the Absorbing Man is the one who gave Eric Masterson the nickname Sparky the Lightning Kid. And so that's cute. And so this is not Sparky. This is Thor Odinson, and he's just going to start. He's just going to start beating ass and making a hassle for this couple that was just out shopping.
Just out shopping. Baz, do you want to highlight any other moments in issue 14?
I think we covered 14 well. The only thing I'll add on to Eric is it's really fun where Creel is at this stage in Thor comics, because is this the second time, if I'm correct, that Thor's like started a fight with him and Creel's like, bro, what the fuck, man? I'm just trying to live my life.
Yeah.
I am just a dude. I am just doing my own thing, and you come and hit me with your freaking hammer, which, might I remind you, you hitting me is good for me. I am now stronger. Let's just de-escalate. And then Thor has to be like, huh, a supervillain just told me to calm down, and he's right. It's a weird position to be in.
I do love that at one point Thor just like gives him the pimp slap.
Yeah.
He's just like, away. Like, okay, cool. It's not how the fight ends, but it's just a moment where Crusher's like caught off guard. Thor just whacks him in the head. It's like, yeah, the Crusher's the kind of guy where I feel like he wouldn't take too kindly to that. My one favorite panel of Thor in this issue is the panel where he's surrounded by all the faces, and he's doing like his dramatic like half turn pose. I think Mike McCone did a really good job of putting together a classic Thor in this panel. I love the I just love the posing that they did, and seeing all the faces with hollow eyes. It's a very cool panel in my opinion.
And well colored, because it has dramatic up lighting to show the highlights.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we can actually move on to issue 15, because we're kind of beginning our Enchanter's story properly. Is there anything else we can think of for 14? Eric, I await your approval.
The Rainbow Bridge pieces being picked up is cute. And also remember, in Simonson, pieces of the Rainbow Bridge did rain down onto Midgard. And so pieces falling to Earth is not a new thing.
Yes. And they're picking them up in like giant like sheets, which is just kind of nice. Kind of a cool visual. The next issue is Thor Volume 2, issue 15. And this is At Last Disclosure. Again, written by Dan Jurgens, penciled by Lee Weeks, inked by Klaus Janson, our regular colorer, our regular inker. Our colors are Gregory Wright, letterers Richard Starkings, and edited by Tom Brevoort. On our cover, we see Thor trying to wrestle the hammer away from the wall, and in the background, we see the Warriors 3 shouting at him, "Stop him! If he should possess the hammer of Thor, the world is doomed." Guys, what do we think about this Lee Weeks, Klaus Janson cover real quick before we just dive into the issue?
I am neutral on the cover, but I love the art in the book.
Yeah. Lee Weeks went hard on this issue. Eric, do you have any thoughts on the cover before we jump in?
It's a very evocative moment. I mean, it's a very enticing, like, I wonder what's going on there if you're seeing this on the shelves, but like, there's something about, I don't know, the composition or the color or something where it doesn't feel as grand as it could. It does the job. I mean, I think it's more storytelling than it is like cover to me.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes total sense. In the beginning of the issue, in the interiors, we see Odin speaking with the Grand Vizier.
Whoa,
What?
full splash page of Odin looking maybe the best he's ever looked, and I don't say that lightly.
The best he's ever looked.
Look at how freaking sweet he looks.
He's awesome. It's a very bold statement.
It's got to be up there. That's a good looking Odin right there.
Do you just like that he said omnipotent at the beginning of this issue?
I mean, if he said omniphascient, I would have liked it better, but it is what it is.
It's an upgrade from the Damp Santa from the Dark Gods
it's
saga.
Definitely an upgrade from the Damp Santa.
Something while we're talking about it here, something I really love about this Volume 2 run is they're doing a great job of explaining things for new readers. You could pick this up for the first time and have no idea who this is, and it's reintroducing Odin to you.
Yeah.
If it is your first time seeing him, maybe you missed the first 14 issues, and now's your chance to figure out who this person is.
They do give a little like poetic bio of him at the beginning. And then they begin this conversation with him and the Grand Vizier. Grand Vizier is a character that's shown up in Thor comics for a long time, and going back to some of the first issues. And this Grand Vizier is he's going to get up to some shenanigans, and Odin is very perplexed by the fact that Thor's hammer is in this wall. The Grand Vizier gives him the news, and he calls forth the Warriors 3. The Warriors 3 are sent off to find out what's going on with the hammer. And after they leave, the Grand Vizier gives Odin a potion. And very creepily, it's like, drink of this potion, your eminence, that thy strength might soon return. And Odin says, as thou wishes, Tarakas, though thou art a good and faithful friend. And then we assume Odin takes a little bit of a nap there. Jake gets up in the hospital, and we get a multiple page summary of Thor issues 143 through 145, which are the original interactions with the Enchanters.
Which of course I knew already.
Which yes, Faz, you and Eric already knew, but the dear listeners to Across the Bifrost may not have known. So if they go back and read Dan Jurgens' issue 15, they'll get a good summary of the last time Thor interacted with the Enchanters. Jake is wrestling with why kind of the Thor-Jake dynamic is taking a toll on him, is kind of what we see in these hospital scenes that we flash out real quick to see all the New Yorkers kind of dabbling with the hammer, doing the sword and the stone kind of gimmick with it. Go back to Jake in the hospital, and this is where our Law and Order storyline really picks up. There's a lot of accusations thrown in here. O'Neill, the detective that we saw at the end of, I believe, was it 13 or 12? The one that was like, there's a drug pusher in this hospital, and his name is Jake Olson. And I remember Eric and I being like, great, we just fought the Dark Gods, and now this like cartoon cop is like, now we're going to get Jake on drug charges.
That's how they got Capone, man. It's got to be something minor. They can't get him on the major stuff. Yeah, that's what I mean. They didn't get him for any of the big stuff. They got him for tax evasion. They're not going to get Jake for something crazy. They're going to get him for drug pushing.
So O'Neill is harassing him, and they try to get him absolved. Like, hey, you can't prove this. Just ask his partner. And Demetrius comes out of nowhere and is like, I was actually an undercover cop the whole time.
Dun dun dun.
And I was like.
Question again for you guys. There's a part in the first 12 where Demetrius says something to the effect of, now I have the perfect person to pin this on. Mm-hmm. Speaking about Jake.
Yeah.
Does that go anywhere, or is that just a weird thing that he says that doesn't end up being picked up later?
I wouldn't know.
No. So it would have to be around here, Ryan. So you would know. This is like kind of the arc where it's dealt with. Can you remember if there's anything weird that fills that in, or does he's just a cop and he's doing cop stuff? And what do you mean he was a drug pusher? I don't know what you're talking about.
I think obviously they wanted us to think that Demetrius was the one stealing the drugs. Yeah, but I think that he legitimately is an undercover cop, and that they have a strong case against Jake.
So the sentence isn't, "Oh, I finally have someone to put this to pin this on." It's, "Oh, I finally found the guy who did this," but he just said it in a weird way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to the point where Thor is questioning whether Jake really did this or not. I mean, it's like pretty compelling.
It's weird phrasing. At the very least, it's weird phrasing.
It's a little misleading phrasing, I would say, in order to give the mystery that then gets twisted out later. But like, it is what it is.
Being the first time reader, I got to this part and I was like, hold on. I thought Demetrius was going to be the guy that was, and like Jake was like the patsy for the crime that Demetrius was. Okay, whatever.
I felt the exact same way, Ryan. That's why I wanted to ask, because I was like, he's a good cop?
I was, and my second thought was like, this is all part of Demetrius's plan. He's actually a dirty cop who's trying to pin drugs on Jake for some reason, because apparently he likes picking on paramedics. I don't know.
And then you read a couple more issues and it's like, oh no, he's just a cop doing his job, because we're still in the era of the real heroes are police in these Thor comics.
He's just kind of being a jerk about it. Jane steps in for Jake and shoos the cops out of the hospital room, and they're like, well, as you wish, doctor. Better get yourself a good lawyer, Olson. You're gonna need one. She is then in this conversation with Jake, where Jake admits to being connected to Thor's essence, soul, however we want to justify it. I kind of didn't see this moment coming, and it was kind of out of nowhere for me. And we pan back to the hammer. The hammer has a sign above it that says, "Whoso pulleth out this hammer of this wall is rightwise king born of all America." And we see people trying to pull the hammer out again, Sword in the Stone. The Warriors 3 show up, and they have some great moments here. Like we should all pick our favorite moments of them showing up. But then Enrock appears out of the hammer again, and he has some choice words for the Warriors 3. Odin is visited by a vision of the remaining two enchanters in his plushy royal bedroom.
And he's looking hot with his shirt off.
I mean, absolutely. He's very, very, the muscle mass on this guy is ridiculous. We go back to the hospital for our final scene of the issue, where O'Neill is trying to get back into Jake's room. They bust in and they find out that Jane helped him escape the hospital. As they're out in the parking lot running away, O'Neill, it's like a Sin City panel where he's firing this gun. There's like black splatter in the background. He's firing off his gun, and Jane says, that Jake's serious about, running away and getting away. And O'Neill says, dead serious, to be continued. And it's a shocker. Good grief. There was so many different tonal shifts in one issue. Faz, do you want to take first crack at this one, since we gave Eric that honor last time?
There's only one really big thing that I want to mention. On page 11, there's this gorgeous shot of Jake with Thor in the background.
Yeah.
And I love when the comics do that imagery of the normal guy with the giant god behind him. And this is a truly beautiful rendition of that.
That's great.
This was a great kind of lore dump issue of all the stuff that's been happening to Jake for the last 13 issues or so. Now we're going to have to deal with it. And it has a lot of really fun stuff, like the "Whoso pulleth out this hammer of the wall is rightwise king." Like that's great. There's a lot of fun. Just generally, I love how Kirby-esque all of the drawings are. Yeah. Like the enchanters all look like they probably should, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Eric, what about you, man?
I love the use of the enchanters in the original Kirby era run. They were incredibly well received in the letters section. People wrote in saying like it's going to be hard to top. It's such a great story with the enchanters. So not a group that I was overly familiar with until we started reading through all of them. But yeah, they are still rather mysterious. These living talismans, the powers that they have, they can do a variety of stuff, including wielding Mjolnir, and so it's still kind of mysterious what exactly they can do. I love the imagery of Odin flying through space. I love the carnival atmosphere around Pull the Hammer Out. It's just so funny to see how quickly that sprung up. Like New Yorkers are just like, oh, we can make a make a stunt out of this. And hot dog carts and balloons and the kid hanging on the hammer. It's a good time, but things then drastically turn more serious when the Warriors 3 show up, and it's leading up to a confrontation. We've established that Enrakt is incredibly powerful, and the Warriors 3, they're not Thor level heroes. They're, powerful, but they're not, going to be able to maybe take this guy out immediately. They can stall him and get some more help along the way. But yeah, it's a nice bridge issue in between the setup and probably the main fight or conflict.
You mentioned when the Warriors 3 show up, Eric, and this my favorite part of the issue because Volstag's in this issue, so it has to be. When they show up in this like big burst of energy, they're teleported to the scene of the hammer. Fandral says the rude festivities bother even the likes of thee, Volstagg, and Volstag's response on the next page is amazing. I say thee nay, the wondrous sights of which I speak are rather the numerous dispensers of food, both fine and rare. I know not what a cheese curd is, but I eagerly await the opportunity to sample it. I'll bet you Volstagg could fuck up some cheese curds.
He would love poutine.
Oh, I mean, poutine sounds incredible. I'm hungry right now. Eric, is there anything we've neglected on this issue? We get a little bit of development in our crime story. Now Jake is on the lam and he's running away from the law.
Yeah, the crime story, I mean, to me, that's it does raise the stakes for Jake Olson, but to me, that's the more boring stuff. I love the supernatural, godly villain stuff. And I think we can all agree it's pretty heavily foreshadowed that this Grand Vizier is Loki in disguise, right? I mean, he has a green light on his face, and he's
what?
I was trying to save that one.
I don't even know if that would be revealed until the end of the next issue, Eric. That is quite the prediction you've made.
I mean,
you asshole.
He is green. He's feeding Odin a green smoking liquid.
I know. So what you're supposed to do is be like, that's weird that the Vizier has green light on it. Hey, I wonder if that'll be important for later.
Are you trying to coach Eric on how to do this?
Spoilers. We didn't even give a spoiler warning.
Heavy foreshadowing. You're meant to jump to that conclusion. And I think they're doing that too. When the hammer originally has the green light come out of it, and it's actually not Loki. Like I think they're trying to make us think like, oh, what? So like, who's this?
You've just confirmed for me that it was Loki when it could have been Enrakt, but now I think it's Loki.
I didn't say that it was. I said, can we all agree that it's heavily foreshadowed that it would be Loki?
Checkmate.
No. Can we all agree it's heavily foreshadowed means that it has to be paid off later?
Ryan's going to check the clip and he's going to dub it in, and I'm going to.
Yeah, he's going to play back. All right, everybody pause for 30 seconds. Listeners, think you can hear that I was right there? There's no need to go
right all along.
I was clearly correct.
Wouldn't it be really funny if I didn't?
Yeah, now we're just giving Ryan.
I will do that to prove one of you right, I guess. The next issue is Thor Volume 2, Issue 16, written by Dan Jurgens, penciled by John Romita Jr. He is back, everybody. Inked by Klaus Janson, colorist Gregory Wright, letterer Wes Abbott, edited by Tom Brevoort. And this issue is entitled Revenge of the Enchanters. This cover is, it's a simple John Romita Jr. cover. We have Thor throwing his hammer against a suit of armor and it kind of clanking off. I don't think the cover is, super notable. It's okay. It's fine. Anybody thoughts on the cover before we jump into our?
I like it better than the last couple covers. I feel like you're being a little mean to this cover. I think it's fun.
Okay, I will take the last cover over this one.
The only thing I don't like about this cover is that Mjolnir is very strange looking.
It looks almost like
It's like a pickaxe.
yeah, it looked like a tomahawk or something like that.
Yeah.
But as we dig into the issue, we pick up where we left off in Asgard. All of Asgard has been rallied to Odin's bedroom for a party, where he is standing over his bed, claiming that he saw a vision, and his little line says, "After all, it's undeniably true that the troubles of my son Thor and the trials of Midgard trouble me greatly."
Well,
Odin,
firstly,
do you really have a history of that?
is there anything weird about Odin in that panel, right, guy?
His eyes are green,
Enchanter green,
which doesn't imply anything.
doesn't foreshadow
specific.
a goddamn thing. And Odin's damn thing.
It doesn't foreshadow a goddamn thing. We jump back to our crime story that I kind of agree with Eric. I'm less invested in, so we're gonna give it less details. Jake and Jane are on the run from O'Neill and Demetrius. We see I can't remember her name. Hannah?
Yeah.
Yes. Fairmont. Yes. We see her kind of stick up for them. Jake runs all the way to where Enracht is fighting the Warriors 3. Hogan is trying to get in a few shots with his mace before it's disintegrated in a beam of energy. Volstagg and Fandral are also caught up in the green energy as Jake is getting closer and closer to the hammer. Eventually, Enracht turns some of the bystanders, some of the people that are just watching from the sidelines, turns them into almost like rock zombies. These formless kind of monsters. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jake is able to get his hand on the hammer while Enracht is distracted by Fandral. And he strikes it on the ground, turns into Thor, and the fight is on. So we now have Enracht facing off against Thor. There's this cool moment where Enracht's green energy pulls up the earth from underneath them and creates this platform that they're fighting on top of. Get some really cool John Romita Jr. art here, where they're fighting against this green Kirby Crackle background. I really enjoyed some of those panels as well.
And green, which is or is not foreshadowing.
Oh my God.
Well, and he's lifting up the ground like they did back in the day, back in the old days. So it rhymes with the previous Enchanters fight. So
Thor is encased. He's hit with all this green energy while Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg are fighting and taking up arms against the citizens, and they're very, very sure to be like, hey, they're not choosing to do this. We can't hurt them. So they're being the good guys in this situation for sure. Fandral even has a line when Hannah shows up to the scene where he says, "Fear not, my lady, so long as dashing Fandral lives, nary a hair on your fetching mane shall be harmed." Okay, creep. Thor blasts energy at Enracht, and that cues a backstory. Enracht explains how he found the remaining Enchanter brothers and what it took to get to this moment here power-wise. But, Eric, this is where we get our reference to the Thor annual that we did last time, where the sorceress Serenda was the one that Thor was stuck in his pocket dimension with. We find out that Enracht was the one that was messing with the hammer at that time because it was a most unique weapon. And then we flash back to the fight. We get a little bit of further explanation of Odin against the other enchanters. We see this green energy just everywhere. And then we go back to Asgard. Odin is watching over the battle. The Grand Vizier is right there next to him. And as Odin is walking away, we see him transform into a green bit of plasma. And our last little bit of dialogue in this issue is, let no one yet suspect the truth. Let no one suspect that 'tis not Odin who doth take the measure of events, but rather Loki, the trickster.
What? What a twist!
I'm shocked. What a twist.
I'm shocked in the least shocked voice. That was great. Oh man, Eric, you get first crack at this one, man. What did we think of Thor issue 16?
Color me excited when the Sorenda story comes back in.
That was cool.
I thought the annual was sort of like a throwaway thing. I was like, oh, it's an interesting sort of doom story that has to do with heroes reborn.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting, but like it didn't really matter. I mean, we even talked about, does it matter what order we read this in? Because it's sort of like its own separate thing. But now it does matter, and it's coming back up. And so we are getting more explanation, because I appreciate, if you're going to mess with Mjolnir or make it so that an entity can control it or go inside of it or manipulate it somehow, they have to have a good reason or a good method of doing that. Like, to just you can't just trivially be like, oh yeah, this bad guy can control Mjolnir, no big deal. It's like, you need to set up a little bit of how did they figure out how to do that, or what happened with that. So I did like the Enchanter stuff and the background and the lore. Finally, though, Jake reaching the hammer again, and it's like, let's go. Thor's back. He touched the handle, and he's looking like a badass. He's going to just freaking strike Enract across the face, and then he doesn't get to, because Enract is pretty powerful, and they get into this grappling match as the earth below them is being raised up. So some pretty cool fights. Like, this is the payoff, right? The issue was more of the setup. We got the crime drama stuff, and we're like, okay, this is where I'm like, I'm back in it. I'm all in. Let's see what's going to happen, because these enchanters are powerful, and the thing with the hammer is going to finally be resolved. I don't like it when stuff goes wrong with the hammer. I mean, I like it. I like it in hindsight, because it makes it an interesting story. But I really hate when, like, oh, Thor's hammer's misbehaving. It's like, okay, again, like, it's misbehaving again. But let's get this resolved. Let's kick this guy's ass so it's a normal hammer again.
Yeah, Bez, what did you think? What were the things? The let's kick this guy's ass. I'm sorry. I tried to hold that together, but I couldn't.
I think we've covered everything I want to cover on this one. It was a fun issue, a fun beat 'em up. Now we're in it now. We've got the answer. We can finally figure out why once every couple issues Mjolnir does something dumb. Now we know it's because the Enchanter's slowly building up power, and now he's free. And we get to see how Thor deals with this problem in 17.
I think for me, the one thing I took away from this is, yes, we're back to John Romita Jr. art. But I actually think his version of Enract I really like. Mm-hmm. His version of Odin I really like. Even his version of the Warriors 3 I really like. His Thor is wildly inconsistent for me. I either love it or I'm just like, God, I don't know what it is about how he does the face.
I get it. It's because you're a hater. It's fine.
Yes, that's the reason. But I do really like the version of Loki he gives us on the last page. Mm-hmm. It gives off all of the vibes I want from Loki. And I really appreciated his touch with that character's big reveal at the end, again, that no one saw coming. Now, guys, I will admit, I told the guys this before we got started, I desperately skimmed this issue because I got a little confused. I would love to read the details and give you kind of the stats of the issue. Would either of you feel confident enough to give us a synopsis of this, or do we just want to pick at it kind of buffet style?
I can take a stab at it, but you guys have to back me up, and we might just it does get a little wibbly wobbly in the middle, and we can just talk about it from there.
Okay, I'll
got you, baby
stats.
Girl. I'll help.
I'll give the stats, and then Eric, you do what you are able. So this is the 8th day, part one. This is a story that is over the titles of Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and the first issue of a debuting Juggernaut series. It is written by Dan Jurgens, penciled by John Romita Jr., inked by Klaus Janson, colorist Gregory Wright and Matt Hicks, letterer Wes Abbott, and edited by Tom Brevoort. We have a John Romita Jr. cover with Klaus Janson art. This is my favorite cover of the four we've done tonight because the Juggernaut is just kind of cool. And to see Thor very small in comparison, I have noticed, guys, in this run so far of Jurgens' Thor, John Romita Jr. has drawn so many villains that are bigger than Thor, which is just kind of like every villain is bigger than him physically in some way, and I just put that together. But loved his approach to the Juggernaut. I think it really lended to his style more. But Eric, take us where we need to go, man.
Yeah, so big Juggernaut fight coming out of nowhere, right? It wasn't even hinted at in the previous issue. It kind of seems like this is a crossover that is being set up, and so we're just getting thrown right into it. Which, okay, we've started the volume 2 run. We haven't had a lot of crossover stuff, and we're kind of getting pulled into another one here. But a big Juggernaut fight. Let's go. We start right in with something that I actually love about this issue, and that is the little slice of life with bystanders, because it reminds us that we're in the context of New York City, that all of these people are living their lives all around what's going on. And so we have this guy, he's getting ready to propose, and then boom, giant explosion. It's Thor in the pavement. He was like thrown down into the ground and makes like a a Wile E. Coyote Thor-shaped hole in the asphalt. So he's down. He gets back up. Obviously, he's just temporarily thrown into the ground, but he's battling Enrakt on the floating island. Dragon Ball Z Frieza style, sort of like up in the air. He gets back up and throws his hammer at Enrakt, who catches it by like just blocking it with the palm of his hand and kind of hurls it back down, which is so cool because I think that the art lays it out beautifully where you can feel the motion. It's really easy to keep track of like exactly what gesture is happening here. And that idea of like catching the ball, like catching a softball and or like a volleyball and kind of spiking it down. So it lands down on the ground. Thor catches it, flies back up, and Enrakt is like, I'm peacing out. He's like, I'm going to peace out of here and live to fight another day. He's actually kind of like taking off, and Thor's thinking like, well, I'm going to follow you because I have to make sure that, we finish this like once and for all. But he can't follow him because he has to deal with something happening down below. What's happening down below? He sees a commotion. A bus is crushed. A bus is being thrown into a building. We see a police force. Is it Code Blue? I don't know. Probably not, because they're not super cops. They're just regular cops.
They're not super cops.
But they're still the real heroes, Eric.
And they're just shooting down a street of civilians, like you do when you got
as one does in the in the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. You are correct.
But it turns out to be Juggernaut, full page splash, awesome look for Kane Marco, Juggernaut here with his giant like knuckle covers and his helmet, looking awesome. This is an era where like the text is suspiciously easy to read on like street signs in the background and stuff because they're using computers to actually add text instead of like hand drawing text. But so that was a little bit distracting with like the no parking sign. I was like, oh, is this important information? No, it's a street sign. I can just ignore it.
It's just look at what we can do now. We can make it look so good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get a pretty epic Juggernaut battle, and Juggernaut is suspiciously more powerful than before. It seems like he's untouchable, and really Juggernaut's power makes it so that he kind of essentially has a force field around him. Like he's not actually being hit. I think that was established in the previous Thor Juggernaut fight where he really is like untouchable. He's not even flinching when Thor strikes down with all his might right into his chest. There's, tremors and earthquakes happening all around them. They're really kind of shaking up the street. Let's see. Loki is spying on this scene happening, and Loki notices, like, wait a second. Let me get some more information on what's going on here. This is a good excuse to do some exposition on the Kane Marco backstory. And Loki is learning about, the story of Sidorak here and what's going on. He sees, and this is where it gets a little bit confusing. There's other stuff happening where there are other, similar to how Kane Marco got the Ruby of Sidorak. There are other people who are stumbling upon artifacts that are giving them power, like the Kestrel Key of Kraken gives somebody power. We have somebody that is finding, let's see, another exemplar in Kenya finds an artifact and is imbued with the ivory idol of Icon, right? And so there's these other characters similar to Kane Marco that are being juggerified into the avatars of these other, artifacts and their essences. So that's something. And then looks like the actual Vizier comes back, and Loki quickly turns back into Odin to pretend like he's like nothing to see here. And we cut back to the Juggernaut fight. So Thor's trying to take on Juggernaut. Juggernaut gets him in a squeeze. Thor's about to lose consciousness. And these other entities here arrive. We've got Conquest and Bedlam, the other exemplars, are on the scene, and they sort of separate Thor and Juggernaut. That they're not necessarily here to save Thor. They're just like this other, element here in the fight, and they are controlling. Let's see. No, what are they? They're taking Kane Marco with them. Faz, am I reading that right? It looks like they teleport away.
Yeah, the three of them are leaving away to do their crossover issue, which you can read later on in Iron Man 22.
they're out of here. So Thor's been saved. They weren't trying to like save him, but they have their other mission that they're on as exemplars on the 8th day crossover event, and it's a sudden, kind of unsatisfying finish to a Juggernaut fight. But the battle was sweet, but the end is just sort of, who are these people? And they're leaving? Okay, so let's start with Faz. Any hot takes on this issue? Favorite moments? It feels like we're kind of ending this little, kind of, this is the trade would include other issues with, the Iron Man story and Juggernaut stories. We're just focusing on the Thor stories, and it feels a little bit anticlimactic. I think the story is going to get resolved in later issues, but for now, we are left wondering, well, what is happening with the Enchanters and what is going on with these exemplars?
Yeah, this is one of those really unsatisfactory comic crossover things from Editorial Mandate, where you get like, we're at the climax, this big thing you've been doing for 4 issues. We're going to pause that because it's Juggernaut time, baby, and let's do some Juggernaut stuff. And the Enchanters literally say, yeah, we'll see you again later, bro, and they just leave, basically. And it's like, okay, well, that could have been really cool, whatever they were doing with that. I guess we'll pick it up in 18 and 19, and for now, we're doing some Juggernaut stuff. So, I mean, I love a good Juggernaut fight with Thor. It's always fun back and forth. I love seeing Loki doing machinations. That's fun in this issue. It is very weird. I find it very weird that this trade is structured to not finish the A story of Thor and instead to focus on this weird crossover that he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. This was like, I almost thought to ask you guys, should we talk about this at another time? Like, should we just do 14 through 16? But then I looked at Thor 18 and it's back to, this is just a weird intermission.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good way to sell Juggernaut comics if you're trying to launch this other story.
Absolutely.
But it leaves us wondering, like, oh, well, like, do I need to read that? Is that going to tell me the rest of the story? And it's like, no, unless you care what happens to Conquest in Bedlam, you don't need to follow that up. And you could. Well,
I mean, like you'll start 18 and be like, this is a little odd, and then it just goes, all right, back to the story. Never mind, folks. It's like, okay.
I will say that there's several moments in here where I'm like, yeah, John Romita Jr. can do a great Juggernaut. Like, he's imposing, he's just big as a house. I love how they made they made his muscles look like very exaggerated, but everything felt like it had this energy to it, like the punches, the slamming into the walls, like having all the bricks kind of like move around Thor as he's going into the wall. I thought this issue had, it's not really it is complex in a way, but the fight is super simple because it's Thor versus Juggernaut. Like, you don't need to know anything else other than these guys are going to tear stuff up. And I thought JRJR had a lot of energy in how he did this fight, which made me enjoy my skimming even more.
Well, and I think it's a good example of fight choreography that's well done, because, you have to have the moves that give a clue of what the action is going to be, and then the next panel sort of completes the action. You have to keep people on like which side of the page are they on, so that you don't get confused if it switches suddenly. I think there's a lot of more evolved, more advanced fight choreography that now we're able to do in the late 90s, early 2000s. Where if this had been tried, back in the 70s, it might have gotten a little muddled trying to have action like this on so many pages, because some of these pages they are at risk of getting downright busy in some of them, but you can still follow it because I think the motions and things like that make sense. Yeah.
Guys, do we have any final thoughts on issue 17? We can wrap up our inconclusive journey into Jurgens.
Juggernaut's cool. I love that he's a current X-Man, and actually learning about his backstory and lore, and there's even like some Juggernaut solo miniseries and stuff like that, and then the crossovers with Kid Juggernaut. I think this character is, stayed super relevant. He's obviously a big fan favorite, but this was so close to going down as like a classic Thor Juggernaut fight, and it just feels like it didn't have the ending to be like, wow, that's one of the great fights, but it really could have been.
That inconclusive that Bedlam Exemplar's interaction at the end was I don't know, kind of like just like, oh, so we did like 15 pages of this for, I don't know, like we call timeout, and then we're back to.
If we want this story, we have to go to Iron Man, then Spider-Man, then Juggernaut. That's so annoying. You got to go through 4 runs.
I'm a pass
just to get this.
Faz, any final thoughts on 17?
I'm really interested to see what happens in 18 and 19, and I think that we should not wait too long before we record our next journey into Jurgens.
Don't worry, listener. If you agree with Faz, plans are in the works to make sure we can get you more Journey into Jurgens ASAP. Everybody, we've just concluded our third part of our Journey into Jurgens, going through the Thor run of epic writer and artist Dan Jurgens. So we are going to bid you adieu for now, and we're going to hop aboard the Rainbow Bridge. Don't forget that we have a Discord, we have a Patreon, and we have an Instagram if you want to interact with us, support the show, help us out a little bit, or just tell us what you thought about the third part of our Journey into Jurgens journey. We would hope that you'd reach out to us on any of those sites. If you want to leave a rating and a review, Faz, tell them.
If you guys leave a review that has words in it, I will read those words. You can request a funny accent. You can request me to disparage Ryan. Just no swear words and nothing too offensive, and I'm in. I can read it like Dr. Doom. I can read it with doom and gloom. I can wear a little hat. I can dress like a bat. I can rhyme all the time, or I can decide that rhyming's stupid and not rhyme anymore. It's really up to you guys, listeners.
You'll only go so Seuss.
Never go full Seuss, Ryan.
Yeah, never go full Seuss. I have to watch Tropic Thunder. Everybody, thank you so much for checking out this episode. For myself, for Faz, for Eric, for the entire team here at Across the Bifrost, we do hope that you have a great rest of your day. And just remember to do one thing. That is stay worthy.